Team Jackson, what's happening? So I got tagged in a post a couple of days ago that said, I don't care how in love I am. We ain't never getting joint bank accounts. And for me personally, I mean, in a marriage, I just don't see why that would even be a big deal, or why you would have that conversation about joint or separate bank accounts before you get married or whatever the highest level of commitment is. But I was really curious as to why people were so adamant about this, those who were. And in the comments, I saw people saying stuff like, well, you want to make sure that you ain't gonna get stole from it. It ain't gonna be taken from you. Ain't nobody gonna be taking my money. And it's like, well, if that's what you think of the person you get married to, you probably don't need to be marrying them. Like, if you don't trust them or you got to watch your back with them, you don't need to be trying to spend the rest of your life with them. You should be trying to spend the rest of your life with somebody who's going to have your back instead, or if you just in a situation where either one of y'all don't have enough money or they can't hold their own without you or before the relationship or the marriage, then that probably means that they're a liability, at least currently, and it's not time to get married to them. And I saw other people saying, well, you want to make sure if the divorce happened, that everything's already separate, everything's already taken care of. Basically going in saying, how can we put ourselves in the best position to lose as easily as possible? Again, I don't know why you would want to go into a situation with that mentality, as opposed to a mentality where you both trying to win. And that mentality says, you know what? Damn where the money goes in terms of whose name is on what bank account. How can we increase the money flow so that both bank accounts or however many bank accounts that we got is full? That's the mentality of building an empire, which everybody talk about doing, or they say, a marriage is a business. And I would agree with that 100%. But you're not about to go and build no successful business trying to apply minimum wage principles. And that's a minimum wage principle. Like, I'm not trying to shade anybody or throw any shade at anybody. But if you go in and saying, I want to make sure what's mine is mine and what's his is his, or, vice versa, what's mine is mine and what's hers is hers, and she can't touch mine or she can't get $10 from me without me knowing, you're going to get the absolute least financially out of y'all relationship. When you really building an empire, you say stuff, the conversation is more like, how can we complement each other in terms of our skill sets, in terms of our passions? How can we complement each other to build something that's going to create generational wealth, where we can really make 6 or 7 or 8 figures from? How can we do that? How can we spend more productive time together instead of just fucking and cuddling and pillow talking and chilling? How can we spend some time masterminding together, plotting? How can we become great together? Instead of putting all this emphasis on what bank account, because that's kind of like, oh, I want the prettiest wallet, I want the most expensive pocketbook, instead of putting real emphasis on how can we fill that pocketbook up, how can we fill that wallet up, how can we fill that bank account up, so no matter who's spending from what bank account, there's always money there for whatever it is that we want. Like, I just don't get these new age relationships where people going into a marriage or even a relationship trying to be as separate as possible on every single level, instead of saying, how can we together become greater than what we ever would have been on our own? That's my mentality, man. But y'all let me know what you think in the comments. I'll holler at y'all later.